Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Sitar Gurukul. On the last lesson, we showed you a variation, a small little variation that you could do as a variety of the original compositions that you were playing. And just a reminder, we were playing it like. Now, I'm sure all were struggling with this. Now, today we are going to talk about a similar technique that I've used at the beginning of this video, which was this particular piece or ornament or whatever you want to call it right now is going to prove very useful to you. And if you are a regular follower of this channel, you might remember that we played something similar in a much earlier episode where we were discussing how to play alaap on Raga Yaman. If you're new, however, and this technique is completely new to you, then I suggest that you go back, find that episode, watch that, and go on from there serially. So this is essentially alaap, of course, but when you use it with rhythm or specifically in a composition, this will get the name called Vistar. Vistar is a variation, and you're going to use Vistar such as this. When you're playing Vistar in a set beat, you're not really following the beat, but where you're ending it and from where you're grabbing onto the composition again plays a great role in the aesthetics of your playing. Now, we are going to come to that later, perhaps in the next episode, about the timing of the Vistar. But today we are going to understand how this specific slide, how this works. So the sliding technique, what we are going to do is, there are 3 steps to this line. The first step is you have to assume that you're on pa. So I don't know if you can see it from the camera angle that we have chosen today. But here the first fret, as we all know, is the tivra ma. If you pull down just a little bit, you're going to expect, you will expect plenty of resistance from here while pulling. It's a very small distance, but you're going to notice that it's relatively difficult, more harder, because it wants to go back because of the resistance. Is because it's very close to the bridge, and that's fine. So you're going to pull a pa from ma. So as you can see, the distance is rather small. Now you're going to assume that you're on pa. It doesn't have to be precisely a pa. There's a little short right there, and that is completely fine in this case. So you assume a pa, and then you come back to ma from there. That's the first step. You need to stroke it, of course, but not too harshly, because that is going to give you distortion, and you don't want a distorted sound. So in a reasonable volume, you are going to strike, and the first stroke is going to be coming back from ma, or letting go from pa to ma. So it's very important that you have a firm grip, a lot tighter than usual, your grip, because you have to carry this sound forward to dha and do a bunch of stuff to it. And you need to be able to have like a solid grid so the sound doesn't die out. So that's the first thing. The second step is you do this. So one more thing is that you're pretty much doing the same thing. The only thing that you're doing new is the slide. I also remember we already talked about slides in somewhere in the basics episode. I don't remember which chapter, but I feel like it's there. You can also check that video out. So a pama, an assumed pa to ma, and then an assumed ni to dha. So I'm going to do it a lot slower just to show you how it's done. But the sound effect might not be exactly as this, because I don't know if I'd be able to carry forward the sound at such a slow state or such a slow speed. But here it goes. Not that bad. So if I break down the procedure, pama, and then as I go, I keep my hands ready. So before I reach the dha, I'm able to pull ni and then dha again. So the rate, the speed, the character of your pulling, the character of your mir will all come into play, and it will create different versions. And it's completely fine if you feel like that, your one is not very beautiful, because I assure you, my one may sound pleasant at the moment, but there are hundreds of sitar players, I'm sure, who are out there that play the same thing much better than I do. So you always have room for improvement. So no problem. So coming back, and then while that sound lasts, you're going to have to play a ni, the ni that you just came from. So ma, ni dha, sa ni. So the same technique in 3 different places. I'm sure that you're going to get exactly what I'm doing. It's just a matter that your hands are not trained to this specific exercise, so it's going to take some time. But keep on trying and it will snap out of nowhere, I promise you that. So and then you just have to do it one more time, because ma, ni dha, sa ni, re sa ni. Sorry, my bad. So ma, ni dha, sa ni, re dha. So after you've touched re, you come back to dha again. If I play it a little bit slower. And then ni sa dha, dha ni sa, ni dha sa. All together. Coming back to the next steps, so provided that you already know how to play this, and then ni sadha. So you play a ni. All are of the same movements, if you notice today. Ni sadha. So there is a slight timing issue with this, and that I would say is of a little bit more of an advanced stage. So you don't have to get it exactly like the way I'm playing it. You just have to understand how it's being played, and you just have to be able to mimic it, no matter how the quality is right now. Coming back. Da, sa, ni, sa again. So, and then a sa. Fourth line is ni dha sa again. Ma, ni dha sa ni re dha, first line. Ni sa dha, second line. Dha ni sa, third line. Ni dha sa, fourth line. So and that's it for today's lesson. This is going to take some time for you to get used to. My suggestion for this would be I'm sure you already have a set of things that you already practice on a regular basis. That's very important. And after you're done with your primary practice, this is something that you can spend your time doing another 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever you feel like. But this is not only going to make more sense in terms of meal and different techniques of meal. It is also going to give you a firmer grip, and it is also going to do wonders for your middle finger line, which is eventually going to let you play better meals. So that's all for today. On the next class, we are going to expand this composition and try to fit today's Vistar on the composition and do something else. Till that time, take care. Happy days.